What everyday skill becomes suspicious if you're too good at it? I can pick any lock in under 30 seconds. And before you ask, no, I'm not a burglar. It started when I was 8. My little brother had this habit of locking himself in the bathroom during his tantrums. Mom would panic, Dad would threaten to break down the door, and I'd grab a bobby pin. My parents thought it was cute. Our little locksmith, they'd joke when I'd free-trapped cats from closets or unlock my sister's diary for her when she forgot the combination. By high school, I was the go-to person for locker emergencies. Teachers would actually call me to help when students forgot their combinations. Mrs. Peterson once had me unlock her classroom when she locked her keys inside during parent conferences. The janitor watched in amazement as I worked my magic in 15 seconds. During homecoming week, some seniors pranked the underclassmen by zip-tying their lockers shut. While other kids waited hours for bolt cutters, I freed 12 lockers in 10 minutes using nothing but a paperclip. The principal shook her head, half impressed, half concerned. College changed everything. My roommate Jake locked his keys in his dorm room during finals week. He was freaking out about missing his exam, tears streaming down his face, talking about how this would ruin his scholarship. I had him back inside in 20 seconds flat. Word spread like wildfire. Soon, random students were texting me at midnight for help with stuck doors, forgotten combinations, even handcuffs from someone's weird party prank. I became campus legend, the lock whisperer. Sarah from my chemistry class got locked out of her car during a thunderstorm. I had her door open before campus security could arrive. Mark accidentally locked his bike to a post with his keys inside the lock. Even the RA called me when the emergency exit door mechanism jammed during a fire drill. Each time, people watched with this mixture of awe and unease. The questions started getting weirder. Have you ever broken into anything? Could you get into the administration building? What about safes? I laughed it off, but something felt different in how people looked at me, like they were seeing a criminal instead of someone just trying to help. The breaking point came when Professor Williams locked herself out of her office right before a major exam. Students were lined up in the hallway, panicking about the delayed test. I offered to help, and within seconds, her door clicked open. Instead of relief, her face went pale. How did you do that so fast? She stepped back like I'd threatened her. That lock was supposed to be high security. Everything changed last month when I was walking past the campus bookstore. The manager was standing outside, looking frustrated, customers gathering behind her. Stupid lock jammed again, she muttered. Maintenance won't be here for hours. All these people need their textbooks. Without thinking, I offered to help. The crowd watched as I knelt down, worked my paperclip magic. 30 seconds later, the door swung open. Everyone cheered. As the door swung open, I realized this wasn't the main bookstore entrance. Behind it was a small office filled with security monitors showing every corner of campus. The manager quickly stepped in front of the screens. He stared at me with this strange expression, not gratitude, but something closer to fear. The next day, campus security knocked on my door. Apparently, someone had broken into 3 different buildings that week: the computer lab, the student records office, and the chemistry storage room. The bookstore manager had mentioned a student who was suspiciously good with locks. I spent 2 hours explaining my childhood hobby while they searched my room for stolen property. They treated me like a master criminal instead of someone who just wanted to help people.
I exposed how my rich private school treated our lunch lady, and it changed everything. Our cafeteria worker, Ms. Rosa, always smiled, even when students threw food on the floor or made fun of her accent. One day, I saw her crying in the kitchen after hours. She told me they cut her pay but doubled her workload after firing the other cook. I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I brought my phone to lunch and secretly recorded everything. Kids dumped their trays on purpose, calling her their personal maid. The worst part? The principal walked by and didn't say a word. That weekend, I made fake Instagram accounts pretending to be rich parents. I commented on all the school's posts about how disappointed we were that our $50,000 tuition went to schools that mistreated staff. Other real parents started asking questions. The next day, the principal announced they'd heard concerns, but instead of helping, they threatened to fire Ms. Rosa for causing drama. Big mistake. I stood up in the middle of lunch and played my videos on the cafeteria's projector screen. The whole room went silent. Parents started calling. The local news showed up. Turns out, the school had been pocketing cafeteria funding for years. Now Ms. Rosa runs the whole kitchen staff with better pay. And those mean kids, they have to help clean the cafeteria every day after school. The principal got fired last week. Sometimes the best revenge is just showing people the truth.
Has anyone ever been to a wedding where someone actually objected? I was photographing my cousin Melissa's beach wedding in San Diego. White chairs on golden sand, flower petals down the aisle, California sunset, perfect Instagram material. Her fiancé Derek was the investment banker type. Slick hair, expensive watch, practiced smile. They'd been together for 2 years after meeting at some charity gala. I'd only met him a few times, but something felt off. Maybe how his eyes wandered whenever pretty waitresses passed, or how he'd check his phone suspiciously. The ceremony was going beautifully. Melissa's friend sang an acoustic version of Can't Help Falling in Love as the officiant guided them through vows. I was getting amazing shots, thinking this would boost my portfolio. Then came that moment. If anyone has any reason why these two should not be joined in matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. That's when we heard splashing from down the beach. Everyone turned to see a woman struggling through shallow water, blue dress soaked and clinging to her body. Mascara streamed down her face like black tears. The wedding planner tried signaling security, but she was already stumbling up the beach. "You can't marry him," she screamed, pointing at Derek. "We were just on a date 3 days ago at Bella Luna. You said you were on a business trip." The wedding went silent. I kept shooting photos on instinct, capturing Melissa turning to her fiancé. Derek's face drained of color, like someone had unplugged him. "It's not what you think," he stammered. "Caitlin's just a college colleague. We were having coffee. Networking, babe, I swear. Caitlin laughed bitterly. Networking? Is that what you call making out in your car? Is that what you call texting me about our weekend in Napa next month? My aunt gasped theatrically. Melissa stood frozen, clutching her bouquet so tightly her knuckles were white. What happened next was unscriptable. Melissa's 78-year-old grandmother, tiny Italian Nonna Rosa, slowly rose from her seat. This sweet, church-going lady, who baked biscotti and pinched kids' cheeks, suddenly transformed. Nonna Rosa walked directly to Derek, orthopedic shoes leaving prints in sand. The wedding held its breath. Then, smack, she slapped him so hard his head turned. The sound echoed across the beach. I knew it, she said, thick accent making each word land like a hammer. I saw you on my dating app last week. The collective gasp was seismic. Nonna Rosa pulled out her iPhone, opened Plenty of Fish, and turned the screen toward Melissa. Look, Bambina, after your nano died, my friend said I should try meeting someone. I wasn't serious, just curious. Then this one, jabbing at Derek, appears on my screen. His profile said, single businessman looking for discreet fun. I took screenshots but didn't want to break your heart before the wedding. Derek sputtered incoherently. His best man slowly stepped away, looking equally shocked and embarrassed. Melissa finally unfroze. She looked at dripping Caitlin, then at Nonna Rosa with her evidence, finally at Derek fumbling with excuses about being hacked and this being a misunderstanding. Without a word, Melissa handed her bouquet to her maid of honor, slipped off her white Louboutins, and took Nonna Rosa's wrinkled hand. Together, they walked barefoot down the beach, sunset silhouetting them perfectly. Caitlin awkwardly followed behind. Guests sat stunned before erupting into chaos. Derek's parents rushed to damage control while my aunt sobbed. The wedding planner frantically typed on her phone, probably updating her disaster protocol. I kept photographing everything. Professional instinct. 2 weeks later, Melissa used those photos for her dodged a bullet party. She framed the shot of Nonna Rosa mid-slap above her fireplace. The catering deposit was non-refundable, so the fancy appetizers and champagne didn't go to waste. Last I heard, Nonna Rosa and Caitlin became unlikely friends, meeting for coffee to compare dating horror stories. And yes, I got paid in full for the photos, plus a bonus for capturing what Melissa calls the moment dignity won.